Why don't you give me a sign?
This is Corinna Jane.
The leaves are trailing along that shore. It's not your problem, it's mine.
With her brand new single, Give Me a Sign. As featured on BBC Introducing.
It's just the way it's gotta be. Give me a sign about the things that we don't know. Why don't you give me a sign?
Corinna Jane, Give Me a Sign. Out now.
It's not your problem, it's mine.
Hello, I'm Sophia Jessica, and welcome to the Fan Carpet.
If we go back to the beginning, was there a defining moment for you to get into the entertainment industry?
Well, I think just a lot of everything's kind of cause and effect, you know, you make choices. You know, I did go to film school in Chicago and made certain choices and landed out in LA in like early 2000s in there. And, you know, just navigating what that actually looks like. What does it actually mean to go and to do that, and to navigate through that when you have zero idea, like, of what that is, you know. While I had technical abilities, I wasn't sure where to direct things and do that. So just, you know, you just randomly fall in with certain people and certain situations. And, you know, like, it's weird because a lot of people that I met very early on in my experience, I worked with over the last 2 decades, you know. So there's been several times I've worked with people on 5, 6, 7 different films, you know. So that part's been really cool to build relationships like that. And even if we don't work together today, there's people that I still call just to talk about, you know, writing or scripts or different aspects, or to bitch about things or whatever it is, you know. So I've always just been really open, you know, had an open mind with projects, and because it all takes so long. Like, that's what people won't tell you, is that, you know, yeah, there's a few overnight success stories, you know, with things, but the reality is that if you want to do this, you know, it's ongoing. There's an ebb and flow to it, and you know, it just, each project can take, like Dinner in America took 6 years from when I wrote it to when we premiered it. So, you know, I've got other projects that have been 8-10 years of, you know, doing that at various stages of, like, oh, it's going to go. No, it's not going to go, you know? So my expectations are just constantly adapting to what the playing field looks like at the time.
Yeah, that's what you can do. Just adapt. So what was it about Dinner in America that inspired you to create it? Because obviously you're the writer and director and editor.
Yeah.
So it's like your complete vision from start to finish. It
really is. And I say that, you know, with Dinner, it goes back to being in Nebraska, where I grew up at the university, seeing flyers on the, you know, the student union building for doing clinical trials, you know, on the holiday break, you know, drug testing and stuff, like these clinical trials and stuff, and seeing flyers for that, and always wanting to, like, do that to try to get some quick money, but never really doing it. So, you know, there's a seed there with how Simon makes money to pay for his recordings. But Simon himself came out of I was on a walk in 2006, and it was the sound and the cadence of my steps that planted the seed with Simon, and how that character would move and look like, and all of that rhythmically. And it sat in limbo for several years as a project called Kicks, about this punk rock kid that was financing his recording habit by selling his body, you know, as a guinea pig. And I wasn't able to frame it in a way or make it go anywhere that I wanted to go. And I had another sketch that was called Dinner in America, about this Midwestern nuclear family that you see in the film. And I had just been sketching scenes with him. There wasn't anything that was like a concrete story. I had like, I was kind of doing a thing. It was more of a high school kind of thing. And it felt a bit in the Heather's space. There was like a new boy that had like moved in, and so there was stuff with Patty. Patty was a bit darker in that version of it. And nothing clicked with it. It didn't take off. And so eventually I combined the Simon character from this Kicks thing and brought him into the Dinner in America thing. And I thought, well, if I bring this character in, he sort of has this effect on the family and everybody changes in 72 hours and they're all better for it, then that's a movie. And so I kind of rolled with that conceptually. So you've got 1996, I'm seeing flyers on a wall. In 2006, I'm putting a seed for Simon. In 2013, I'm writing this script that's had 15 years or so of like maturation. So I'm kind of like, I do that with characters. I'll compartmentalize them and put them in folders and just stew on them for insanely long periods of time, and then come back and sort of harvest from them and combine. And it's like having them like cataloged and ready to go. And like, how am I going to inject this and so I spent a lot of time like over the years just sort of watering those seeds and seeing what happens with them. So it's a lot of trial and error and just kind of like, I guess, taking chances with things and sometimes failing and sometimes it works out.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. And like you've got your two principal characters there, but that doesn't work without a stellar cast behind it. So you've got Carl Gallner, who I've been a fan of since like Smallville. And like for the fresh face of Emily, who I've not seen in anything before. So what was it like being on set with these two, these two that are in different places in their careers?
Well, the first thing we did was record all of the music and rehearsal. So, instantly we're bonded because of that. So you can take any like preconceived notions of Kyle, anything with Emily. Now they're here specifically for Dinner in America. That's the task at hand. So we need a way to unify all of us, get us in the same emotional place with it. For me, the direct line is music. My background, I've been a home recorder for 30 years. So I do 4-track, 24-track, recording as an outlet, just for, just as something that I enjoy to do creatively, with not trying to, I don't sell it. I don't even put out free albums. I have been doing it just for myself as an exercise. So that was the way that, we unified. We recorded the music. We did all of the PSYOP stuff the first day. Kyle and Emily flew out from LA. We did the PSYOP stuff the first day, and then the second day, Emily and I recorded the song that you hear in the basement of the movie. Yeah. So we did that. And at that point, we've now established emotionally where we're headed with the movie. Yeah. So it was just the easiest way to get there. We had 2 weeks actually of rehearsal. So I didn't need very much more than that personally, because I felt so connected with them just by the act of recording together and doing that. So we had those emotional reference points like instantly. We'd already bonded over the phone and, through some Zoom calls and stuff. And, that's what you try with every project, is just to align everybody and, hope that they all, you articulate your vision and what you want to do. And then the rest is just going to happen how it happens. Like you can't, it's like, it's going to be what it, anytime you collaborate with somebody, there's like give and take. You might have this very specific thing in your head, like, I want a character to do this. But if you're not malleable to what that person brings to the experience, it probably won't serve the project very well, because they're going to have their own idea of it, and they're actually, they're the vessel of it. So I try to be super loose and flexible in my own thinking, let them really bring their energy into it. And then, I kind of work, once we've established what that is, it's easier for me just to sort of fine tune stuff with them. But, it's collaborative. Like Truffaut said, there's the film that you write, the film that you shoot, and the film that you edit, and they're all really different films.
But that's awesome because they're great together. They really are. Yeah. They're fantastic to watch, and you instantly get drawn to them and want to see what they're doing in the story, which I think is great. And I'd like to see more from Emily. Really would. So you've got Ben Stiller as a producer on the film. He's a legend in cinema.
Sure.
What was he like to work with?
Well, Ben and Nikki Weinstock from Red Hour, I mean, they were just so supportive in, helping shepherd this project, because they kind of took it, we're a scrappy, low budget film. And I think they were able to get us access at times to, whether it was talent or getting us in the door here, or, like that type of stuff helps so much. And I think I was articulate enough in what I wanted to do with the broad stroke vision of that they, for whatever reason, trusted me because I could explain it. And I was able to. So we, they were instrumental in a lot of ways to just help shepherd this thing, and just sort of cut through some of the white noise and red tape that you run into sometimes with productions.
Yeah, it's always helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So you also got. I was talking to Carl about this earlier because I spoke to him this afternoon. You've got Leah Thompson in there, and they share a very interesting scene.
Yeah.
Towards the beginning of the film. But do you have any memories from set that you can share?
Well, too, when we shot that scene with Leah, the food sat there for 2 days. So the turkey, it was starting to get really rancid, and it's under the lights and stuff. It started to smell. I think that because of where everything was placed, they just covered it overnight. But the next day, when we shot everything, which would be the destruction part of that,
Mm-hmm.
It started to stink pretty bad. And so actually, when Kyle hits Bobber, or when Simon hits Bobber with the turkey, it was Homeboy's birthday too. It was Sean who played Bobber. It was his birthday. So he's in this jersey and he's getting hit with this turkey. It smelled really bad. He smelled really bad. I felt bad for him because he kind of had to wear that then for an extra 3 or 4 hours. He has this greasy, stinky costume on. I mean, it smelled rancid. So that, and just, the part where Kyle and Leah come together and make out. I mean, we're having to cover it many, many times, and here's Kyle, making out with Leah Thompson. I mean, for all of us, Back to the Future is just such a huge, reference point for so many, people my age and slightly younger, slightly older, but, it was just wild. It was just, and it was just a really fun scene with Leah. Leah's super smart, and she's a director as well. So she had she wanted to know the frames and everything. So it was fun to interact with her on that level, just because she really knows craft as well. And she's just a real pro. So she comes in and boom, but also would still talk to me about Jaws 3. So,
Yeah, she's an absolute legend, and she's got a wonderful family as well, wonderful talented family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your preferred genre, and do you have any favorite films or TV?
So my preferred genre is way more grindhouse than this. Like where the stuff that I like to watch isn't exactly what my catalog is planned. You know what I'm kind of planning, but within that, you know, I'm more 75 to 85 is like my sweet spot of, you know, genre stuff. Whether it's slashers, blaxploitation, exploitation, southern exploitation. Like I love that pocket in there. I'm like a big genre guy. That's what I watch primarily, whether it's 16 millimeter prints or Blu-rays or, you know, I run the gamut in that space, you know, zombies, slashers, like all of it, you know, Fulci, like, you know, Argento, like I love Italian stuff, like anything in that sweet spot though. 75 to 85 is like the area that I really enjoy to watch, like right there.
Okay, awesome. Just wanted to go back to something you mentioned about the basement scene when you're making the music.
Yeah.
Was that kind of inspired by your own by what you do in your own life with the music?
Yeah, 100%. That is where I was able to inject the most of me at the essence of what I enjoy doing, sitting around recording songs. I was able to put that in there and sort of showcase that in a way to hopefully convey to an audience what that experience is kind of like, and the little joys and the little, you know, things that happen in those moments when you're recording. I find it can be very, you know, very transcendental, you know, like in those moments. So I wanted to showcase that. You know, I'm not saying I designed the whole film to do that thing, because I don't think when I started it, because of, I told you basically that it had been two things that merged together.
Yeah.
I don't know that I entirely saw that coming, because there was an element. So once I did like a day in the life of Simon, a day in the life of Patty, and then fused them together. I think in the ground stage of that fusion, I never was thinking they're going to record a song together. It just like it snowballed into that thing. And when I got to that part in the film, that's what happened. So I was like almost having a long development period with characters, thinking about them all the time. And then when it actually got to the part where the fusion of these two stories, then it was more like free-forming as I went. And it was like surprise. I was constantly surprised with what the direction that things were going with, and just like, you know, kind of like open to things happening, like that I didn't really plan this movie. Like a lot of times I do note cards and everything's very meticulously planned. This was like, get to know these characters and kind of riff on them, you know, and this is the result of sticking those two people together that came from separate projects.
Yeah, just going with the flow. That's great. And they come together in such an organic way as well.
I think that's really due to, like I said, like taking characters that belonged in two different worlds and two different ideas and shoving them, like physically shoving them together. And I will say that my favorite, I think the way that in which it happens in the movie, you have, we set up where Patty takes her lunch break. We've seen that. And then, you know, we have Simon come into that space, and then like we're following him, and there's nothing that should connect these people together except that when that happens. And then you start to peel back the layers of the onion and you realize, wow, these two forces of nature came together in a spot, but they have a backstory together. It's kind of, yeah, that's the organic part of it. That's a lot of fun, as you start to, if you pay attention and you look at the letters and you start to get these little clues that don't make any sense until the moment that, you know, it's like you see Patty obviously with the Polaroid and you don't understand what's happening there. You know, you get all these little clues eventually with it. So they, you know, I feel like it pays off really well.
It absolutely does. Who inspires you in the industry?
I mean, David Lynch, I could always point to David Lynch just because, you know, he's so craft driven, and it's all about, he's so involved in every aspect of it. I really feel like you have to, if you want to do something on a really personal level, then you have to be involved in sound design. You have to be involved in soundtrack. You have to be involved in editing. You have to, you know what I mean? So it's, I look at filmmakers like David Lynch, and I think I really enjoy, he's a, you know, a real working artist. So I appreciate that. I also, when I was like 18 years old, you know, I saw Eraserhead. That was one of the films that opened me up to looking at the medium itself and starting to, you know, it was like, I grew up in a Midwestern small town. So it was, you know, the theater played all the big blockbuster movies and that type of thing. So that's what I was exposed to, that type of stuff early on. Of course, this is in the VHS boom. I'm seeing a lot of horror, and I'm starting to get into like some obscure horror and stuff like that. But then, you know, seeing like art films like Maya Deren's Meshes of the Afternoon and Atland and Rituals and Transfigured Time, when I saw that and Eraserhead in a very short period of time from each other, that's what started like signaling me that, wow, films can do more than just, you know, tell like kind of this big obvious story. They can do other subtle things, and there can be stuff with the sound design. And so I started paying attention more because it was, I saw, you know, Maya Deren's work, and I started watching David Lynch's work, you know, or at least like Eraserhead. I hadn't seen that before. I had seen like Dune, and possibly I'd seen Twin Peaks, you know, the original series, but I hadn't seen like Blue Velvet, and I hadn't seen Wild at Heart. And this is the time period where I'm seeing those films and starting to understand that films can be a deeper thing.
All right, awesome. And what are you hoping audiences are going to take away from Dinner in America when they get to see it?
I hope it's a cure for the pandemic blues. I feel like, you know, it's kind of a throwback in a way, like energy wise. It just feels like a different place and a different time. So a lot of the response I get from people is like, thank you, I needed this right now. And I mean, people, yeah, that means a lot to me. Like, and I understand what that means when I needed it right now. And I get that. So I don't know. You have very abrasive moments and very abrasive characters, but there's also, behind the saltiness, there's just a lot of sweetness to this film too, in a fun way. And I think that it works right now for some reason, like really well. You know, I'm obviously bummed out that I didn't get to tour as much and do a lot of the festivals in person. Like that part stinks, you know, because I really enjoy that. But I don't know. It's it's a movie that the feedback I get from people is like, thank you, I needed this right now, usually, or something to do with Patty and connecting with her. So I'm happy that audiences connect with the characters. I mean, that's what you hope a film does, that people connect with.
Because you want to go on their journey, and they're engaging, so you go on their journey, and that's who you follow. So just finally, where can we find you online to keep up with what you're doing?
I'm so put off by online, but at this point, and to a degree, but you know, so I don't really put a whole lot out there personally. I mean, I'm on Facebook. I have an Insta that I don't ever look at. I have a Twitter account that I never look at. So I just, my energy in the last year, especially in this country, like just I feel exhausted from that. So I wish I had more of, I guess, a presence, but right now it just feels like a lot of, you know, introspection and just kind of like, you know, observing things. And so I don't have a big, but we do have, so to answer your question, we have there is a Dinner in America Facebook page, and information on that as well. So can easily like go there for any of the latest details if the film's coming out in different countries and there's different screenings and stuff. We usually try to keep that at least updated so people know. That's
awesome. Yeah, it's it's out in the UK in June 1st, I believe. So yeah, I'm looking forward to people seeing it.
You'll be able to see it on the 1st through Arrow Player. So that it comes out, it's available on the 1st. And then I know Blu-ray and stuff, physical media for our I love physical media, and I absolutely love genre fans. This film plays very grindhouse adjacent in a weird way, which is fun. We can do art house festivals, and we can do like genre festivals where we're the only comedy in a sea of horror. We do them equally nimbly. So it's really, that part's really, really fun, I think, to have a film that can do either or, and my heart's always going to be with the genre crowd. That's where my heart totally belongs. So those are my people. So, I feel like that's who I make movies for, the genre crowd.
That's awesome. All right. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you today, Adam. You look after yourself, and I look forward to what you do next. Thanks very much.
Appreciate you. All right. Take care, brother man.
Take care, mate. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for more content next time.
I'm here on the largest of the Balearic Islands, Mallorca. With the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea, beautiful mountainous landscape, the thriving city of Palma, quaint little market towns, a growing number of luxury hotels, it's no surprise that the likes of Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor like to holiday here. So come and join me as I take you around Mallorca.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.